Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Andrew Discusses, where today I want to go a little more into detail on my idea for the adaptation of Lupinranger versus Patranger. Now, I talked about this in a previous video that I did here on my channel in the discussion section about my ideas for adaptations for the remaining Sentai series that we currently have up to, I don't even know what Sentai series were. Kimuranger, but I didn't talk about Kimuranger because I didn't see that one yet. So basically, the ones that haven't been adapted yet into Power Rangers from Sentai, which was basically Tokuger, Q-Ranger, Lupinranger versus Patranger, and last one's gonna it's gonna bug me. I'm not gonna think of it off the top of my head, and it's gonna bug me. I know there's like 4 of them, but you know what I mean. There's like 4 of them. I can't think of the last one. Zoojer. I know what coming. But anyway, I talked about my ideas for adaptations for those in a previous discussion video. You can gladly check that video out. I might put a little thing up here in the upper left corner, but I can't remember all the time to doing that. Hey, my memory's not the world's greatest, but I'm trying. Anywho, I thought I would go a little more into detail since I really like this idea for Lupinranger versus Patranger's adaptation. It might work out really well for a Power Rangers franchise. So here's the idea. Instead of it being cops and robbers, which is basically what Lupinranger versus Patranger is in a way, it would be more like 2 rival video game teams and make it a video game-based Power Rangers series. This could work out extremely well for Hasbro since they could market a lot of crap for this. And since a lot of people play games anyway, there could be a little tie-in game to go with it, I guess. Figure that out on your own. Basically, you would have the same characters that you have in, the actual series. Only in this case, you would have somebody owning, like a rundown, beat-up, I'll call it like a coffee shop or a cafe, where the Lupinranger force of the team is basically going to be having, their base of operations home. And they're basically going to be what I call the underdogs in the world of the video games. They're basically a ragtag team. The owner does not have the funds to keep them constantly going all the time. They have to work for him to pay off the amount of money, or he or she, but they got to work for the owner to pay off what the servers cost. And they're basically the only team that can go up against the other team, which would be the Patrangers team, like the elite of the elite. They have uniforms, they basically walk together, they have to file paperwork, they have corporate sponsors, stuff like that. And you can kind of see like day versus night with this. And it would work out really well for this series since both sides had to fight over the one mech to combine into the Megazords with. And it would be a really cool idea to see that happen with this version, because it could be like, okay, you're going up against the boss, round, like the bonus round for the boss battle, and it could be like, do you want to do it or not? And if you accept, then your team gets access to the Megazord. If you decide to pass it on, then the other team gets access to the Megazord, and it's all basically part of a game. The only problem is that what they don't realize is the game is actually happening in real life. They figure they're just playing in virtual reality, when in actuality, they're actually playing for keeps. The virtual world, I guess you could say, kind of melds itself in with the physical world. Sort of like, think Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal in a way, where they had augmented reality vision links. That's sort of the same deal here, only in this case, the data can actually destroy things. It can blow up buildings, it can destroy cars, it can slash through the sky if it has to. And what they don't realize is that they're fighting in this virtual game where they can transform into the Power Rangers for their respective team, and in actuality, they're fighting to save the world, and they'll come to grips with that as the series goes on. Eventually, just starting off as we want to score points to become better than the other team, but in actuality, they're playing this game for other purposes. And the main thing would be, I don't remember all of how Lupinranger versus Patranger went because I only saw like 2 episodes of it, so that is the only downside of this, other than clips that I saw, but that's about it. You could have it be that the main villain decides, I'm going to be the one pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Like, I'm the creator of this video game, to see if anybody in the world can actually stop my creations from destroying it. And there you go. There's your villain. And then basically have it be that the Rangers then find out that, look, this is what we're fighting against, and, you know, go against it. Because they're going to end up having to change some of the series to have it work for American audiences and American television versus having it work for Japanese television, because there are differences. Otherwise, I think it would be a pretty cool idea. Now, granted, there are some issues with this, and I will get into that if I ever think about it, but most of it, I think, sounds kind of interesting. Then you also have the other side of the fence, or basically side B in a way. And that's basically consisting of, oh, I guess it would be the gold and silver one, could basically be a, you know, assist character. Like, oh, look, I can assist, you know, the elite team, but I kind of like hanging out with the other team, too, from time to time. So I'll kind of, like, swap back and forth between them if I have to assist them. And just have it be somebody that they know, like, the sinister motif of this in a way, that they know what's going to happen. So, oh, yeah, no, not a problem. And they're kind of doing it back and forth. Now, granted, I'm not still 100% impressed with the way Hasbro's been handling Power Rangers, and I never really will be. I mean, Saban didn't do a bad job, and even the Neo Saban era, once they pulled their heads out of their ass and found their happy little home, was a better version of Power Rangers than it was originally. But the Disney era murdered a lot of Power Ranger nostalgia for a lot of people. At least me, kind of took a lot of it away. But this would be a pretty cool idea to try to bring the old version of Power Rangers in with the newer one, since a lot of people were considering Lupinranger versus Patranger an unofficial anniversary in a way. And I could kind of see that from the clips that I saw and the couple episodes that I watched. It did kind of feel like a sort of anniversary in a way. So I could see that working out, like, oh, look, we get, like, weapons and that are inspired by previous ones, and there you go. Of course, that would throw it up for debate, but still. Then there comes the part with the Zords, as I know that there are a lot of mechs in this that they get over time, like, there's a plane, there's I think there's like a helicopter, a whole bunch of other stuff. Those could be, like, items that they acquire in the level, or episodes, basically, where they're battling it out, and that's the prize that they get. They figure, okay, this is mine, then the other team just, like, comes over and takes it at the last minute. It's like, hey, that was ours. No, it's ours now, and then they get access to the power. Of course, they'll all come together, as they often do, and there you have it. All the powers will be used anyway. But at least in general, it's a pretty cool idea. Now, as for the characters, I don't really have much in the way of names because, well, let's face it, I'm not exactly sure what they would go with and what would fit the characters. I kind of like the name of Chip for one of the underdog side. But again, I don't really know because you're going to have those all over the place. I mean, you could use gamer tags for them if they wanted to. They could go, oh, look here, we're going to have it be, you know, this is how it works for this side and this is how it works for this side. So I really couldn't say on names, but that would be a pretty cool idea anyway. I mean, like, just gamer tags inside the game, but then in real life, they're known as somebody totally different. But that's an idea anyway. I still like the Zords. The combination-wise is pretty cool. There are some, I want to say downsides to it, but still not a bad idea. Like I said, the main mech that forms the body of the Megazord could be the bonus item that's used for the boss battle, depending upon which team's in the lead in the level, or has won the level by defeating the boss the first time to go on to the second round of the boss fight. They could decide, no, we don't want to do this anymore. You know, no, we'll pass it on to them. Let's see if they can do it. Or they're too exhausted to do it, or it's just like, no, I don't want to handle this. It's something like that would be pretty cool. And I know I kind of touched on that back in the discussion one. But, because you figure with a lot of gamers in that, this would definitely be a Power Rangers series that would hit a lot of levels, especially when it comes to that particular thing. I mean, you have video games everywhere. Everybody plays games. This would definitely be something that would be bringing gamers around to the side of Power Rangers in a way. And I mean, I don't really like the idea of it being a, oh, here, we're just gonna make it like a cops and robbers style thing. They tried the adventure style back with Operation Overdrive, and even though I liked parts of Operation Overdrive, the whole series was okay, but looking back on it, yeah, there were some issues when they get pointed out to you. There are some issues, but I mean, it wasn't a bad series by any means, but yeah, there were some bad issues in there. They already tried the whole treasure hunting and expedition thing with that, and it failed miserably. As far as like cops and robbers and good versus evil, thieves and police, you can't really do that in a Power Rangers series because it sort of takes away from what it actually is. I mean, Lupinranger versus Patranger, that worked really well because it just fit it for the area, which would basically be Japan. It fit that really well because you constantly have like anime series like Lupin the Third and stuff like that. It fit that that sort of motif in a way that the Sentai series touched upon what anime had already struck. With Western audiences, I don't think that same motif would hit as well. So this would definitely be something that would be more in our wheelhouse to try to make it so that we can understand it a little better. And plus, like I said, you're going to have to change up stuff from the Japanese version to the American version anyway. They always do. Now, whether or not any of this would actually be possible, I don't know. This is literally just my stupid idea. Hopefully it might take off. Maybe somebody from Hasbro will see this and go, hey, that sounds like a pretty cool idea. Let's jump on that. But at the same time, they might decide, I don't like the idea too much. Don't really want to watch it. Don't like it, or change too much of it and make it their own. I don't know. But either way, that's my idea for an adaptation, at least a little better of one anyway, for Lupinranger versus Patranger. Now, whether or not that series will ever get hit either, I don't know. I mean, how long did it take us to get Go Busters as a Power Rangers franchise? It took a while, because that would have been literally right after Go Kaiser, which was Super Mega Force, which I'm still pissed that Saban just butchered that one. That was an anniversary season, and they just massacred it horribly. But as far as this one's concerned, it would work out pretty well. So, I mean, it's just my idea, but I kind of like it. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on an adaptation for Lupinranger versus Patranger for Power Rangers franchise? Let me know in the comment section below, and until next time, I'm Andrew Rhodes, and this has been Andrew Discusses.